Hey, welcome back. This is Lyle Bucks Gearbox, and today I want to show you the new Giant Mouse Ace Tribeca, but this is the River's Edge Cutlery exclusive version. More after this. So, if you are watching this on October 16th in the year of our Lord 2023, you are in luck. It goes live today at noon Eastern. I'm aiming to get this out about 8 a.m., 9 a.m. I'm burning the midnight oil, getting you this. I've been carrying it for about 3 days now. They let me have an early one, and I took it out in the woods, even just backpacking with it and camping. So I've not used it all that much, but I wasn't gentle with it either. It's been in my pocket quite a bit. It's been in my backpack. It has been out on the trails, and I already love Giant Mouse knives. I'm a big fan of REC in general, so this is a very exciting knife for me for sure, in like a personal way. This is a very cool team up by two of my favorite entities of the knife world, and yeah, and maybe even a third entity in Magnacut steel, which I really have been enjoying. But yeah, this is a really cool knife, and I'm super pumped to be able to do this video. What makes this one unique from the standard titanium Tribeca are these bronze anode titanium scales, which are just really pretty. Put them up closer to the camera. We'll take a top-down look under a different light, because what's interesting about this bronze is, depending on the light you're shining on it, it can kind of shift colors a little bit. It's very cool. This is a medium-sized everyday carry knife that's rocking the familiar, elegant designs that Giant Mouse is known for, but with some really nice materials and coming in a really competitive price for a knife with this combination of high-end elements. And this one, again, it goes live today, limited to 205 pieces, and I'm sure they will sell. The Ace Tribeca is already a lot of folks' favorite Giant Mouse knife, and this version is absolutely stunning. There will be links in the description below. You do not have to use them. I am an affiliate with River's Edge Cutlery. If you do use them, it helps my channel grow, and I appreciate it. I want to say thanks to all my patrons and supporters. You all rock. All right, so let's look at what comes in the box if you purchase the River's Edge Cutlery version of this Giant Mouse knife. It's your pretty standard fare, but I definitely wanted to show you what you get, what it looks like. Tribeca TI bronze, of course. You get all the regular stuff. They just started doing this, I think, recently. My Ace Rio came with this nice little cloth pouch. Very cool. I love it when companies throw in extras like that they don't have to. You get this nice little piece of paper and description of a Giant Mouse knife. You can read about the warranty and stuff like that. So, oh, sorry. If you want to read that, you can pause that right there and go ahead and give it a shot. And that's about it. And now we're going to take a look at the knife and look at some specs. All right, the knife is almost 7.4 inches long. The blade length is close to 2.9 inches. The handle is right at 4, and I can get a perfect 4-finger grip on this knife, even with my medium to large size, tall, skinny guy hands. Very easy to carry and very easy to use. It weighs in at a beefy feeling 5.1 ounces, so it's not a lightweight knife. If that's what you're looking for, this is not the knife you want to get. But it's pretty beefy and strong thanks to those stainless steel, really solid liners in there. And the lockup, as you can see, is very strong. Feels just super solid. Like, it's actually an elegant looking knife. This seems like it'll be really tough, really strong, especially in the everyday carry arena. Again, there's this very cool CPM Magnacut on the blade steel, the beautiful satin finish. I have been using this for 3 days, so it has not been cleaned. I haven't abused it or anything, but I definitely used it on my hiking trip. Almost a full flat grind, but there's just a little bit of flat kind of subtly moved towards the top of the opening hole. The titanium scales that come on this knife, this gorgeous bronze anodization. It kind of changes color with use, depending, I don't know how wet your hands are, if you're sweaty or whatever. I've wiped it off a couple of times. And I think that these scales should get more and more interesting with time. From the snail trails, you can already see there's one right up here. If I can get the camera to see it, it's right there. It's not really focusing well, but I think you can still see it there. So yeah, it's just like any other titanium. It's going to get some of those little bitty love scratches. There's some on the back there too. Didn't notice that before. But yeah, it's already seen, you know, a lot of pocket use, come into contact with my keys. It's been thrown around in my backpack. I haven't abused it, but I haven't babied it either, because I use my knives for sure. You know, obviously it's a liner lock, not a frame lock. If you're interested in it, you know, if you'd rather have a frame lock, this would not be the knife for you. But the liner lock, as I mentioned before, is very strong, very solid, and it's easy to use. You can get into that lock pretty easily. The cutouts are just right. Yeah, very cool. Runs on bearings, and it is a, oh man, this thing is a great flipper. Very fidgety. I can slow roll it pretty easily, and I can spidey flick it, even though I'm not, even though I'm not very good traditionally, as you can see there, at spidey flicks. But this thing just flies out. It has great action. Reversible tip up only wire clip, and it has this beautiful bronze backspacer, which also adds to the heftiness of this knife. It's got jimping in all the right places. You know, Giant Mouse is very good at putting jimping in like places that totally make sense, like on the spine of the blade right here, if I can get the camera to focus, where if you go to choke up with this nice finger choil, you got a lot of control. So if you're whittling or doing some sort of detail work or detailed cut, it's very easy to use this knife for that kind of thing. All of Giant Mouse knives have this forward jimping, and I really like that design. And of course, the beautiful crown spine. I'm always kind of a sucker for that. I love Chris Reeve knives for that. I love Giant Mouse knives for that. Any other company, if you want Bucks Gearbox to want to buy your knife, I'm kind of a sucker for a good crown spine. I don't know why. I just think it looks cool. Learning to do that on my own knives. So yeah, this knife is beautiful, and I have to admit, I'm usually a big fan of Giant Mouse designs. Their aesthetics are pleasing to me. I'm a bit of a fanboy. Their ergonomics and shaping of their knives I just find very pleasing for everyday carry, and very just classy. I mean, that is a pretty knife, even if you take away some of the material elements. This is a very elegant design. I know that I've heard that some folks don't care about their detents, or don't care for them, or how they design their detent systems, but I've never had a problem with any of mine. And I think those folks might actually dig this one. It's super snappy. The crown spines are something that Giant Mouse is known for. See that? I mean, it's so pretty. And that's usually found in much higher end knives, and not at this price point, except for some of the knives that are made in Italy. Jesper Voxnaes and Jens Anzo like to do their crown spines for sure. So you do see this coming out of Italy quite a bit. It's something that I really love. Let's do some size comparisons. Here it is next to the Paramilitary 2 in copper, not brass. And here it is next to the Para 3. Very comparable with the Para 3 as far as size and everyday carry, general usage. Let's put it up against the Benchmade Reptilian, the full size. Obviously that's a bigger knife, and let's put it up with the mini grip. Kind of a happy in between there. Let's go with a couple other comparable knives. I think the Tribeca Magnacut is just a super useful everyday carry blade. And then also on kind of the budget realm, also a button lock, is the CJRB Pyrite. I also thought it would be interesting to put it up against some premium knives. This is the Tour Merchant 2.0, also titanium. Honestly, I can't remember. What is the steel on this? I don't remember. I want to say it's S35, but honestly, I might be wrong about that. And then I really enjoyed putting it up against my new Hinder Eclipse 3.0 because I feel like the profile, even though this is all angular and very kind of, aggressive looking, the profiles are not that far off as far as where your finger goes, as far as the shape, the overall shape of the knife, the curve on the back. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting how somewhat similar those two knives are, even though they're very different in kind of angles and look and meanness. And then last but not least, I figured we should put it up against some of its brethren in the Giant Mouse family. That's the Ace Grand. Here's the aforementioned Ace Rio in Magnacut, the one that Jesper himself handed to me. Very cool. And then a little bit closer to the size of the Tribeca is the Biblio. Even though Biblio is a little bit smaller, a little bit taller. You could say maybe a little bit funkier in design. And this is the Ace Riv, which is actually a Riot made Giant Mouse knife. Much smaller, but you can see very similar characteristics in all of these knives. This one is a titanium frame lock, which is very interesting and works very well. I really dig this little knife. And there you have it. The Giant Mouse Ace Tribeca River's Edge Cutlery. All right, so what say I? What do I think? I think this might be the best Giant Mouse Ace folder that has been made as of this point. And I said the same thing when I got a hold of my Giant Mouse Ace Grand, and then I said the same thing when I got a hold of my Ace Rio at the event where I purchased it and got to meet Jesper Voxnaes. It was a very special event. My dad was there. It was Father's Day. It was really cool. I said that about those knives too. I do think this one might trump those, although I dearly love my Ace Grand and my Ace Rio. This is just a really special design. I think they knocked it out of the park with this one. The action is really smooth. The lock is strong. Just in case I didn't show you in the other video, check that out. It's pretty cool. It's a big, pretty beefy slab of stainless steel in there that's keeping that thing locked up solid. Very, very good everyday carry knife. Probably a little bit stronger than your average everyday carry because of the materials that it's made from. The ergonomics might be as close to perfect as you can get for my hands. You have full 4-finger grip, and there's a lot of ways to choke up on this knife. If you know anything about Giant Mouse knives, they love to put this jimping in just the right spots, kind of for a forward grip. You also have a very, very good finger choil right there. Almost Spyderco like, and you have jimping on the backspacer and even back here on the lanyard section of the backspacer, which is that beautiful bronze. Pretty cool stuff. I believe they have achieved a really awesome design in this knife, and I do think it has a very good chance to replace the Grand and the Rio as my favorite folder from Giant Mouse knives. This will get a lot of pocket time, and I think if you can't get this River's Edge Cutlery exclusive, because they didn't make a whole lot of them, there's no real downside to getting the standard titanium. It is also very beautiful. It's just a little bit more, regular titanium gray. Either way, the Ace Tribeca is a fantastic knife. Let's talk briefly about heat treat on Giant Mouse's Magnacut, and I will tell you what I know, because I know that's a point of contention. And here it is. Giant Mouse knives shoot for 62 HRC on their Magnacut. I spoke with Jesper Voxnaes himself, and yeah, I was a bit starstruck. He's an awesome dude. I met him and talked to him for quite a while about knives and knife making at the Giant Mouse pop-up event that happened in Kentucky that my dad and I went to. I mentioned that a little bit ago. I showed him some of my knives. He was curious as to what other makers were doing their Magnacut in as far as heat treat. I just thought that was an interesting conversation to have with someone who I, really definitely look up to in the knife community. And then he told me that they decided to shoot for 62 for EDC after speaking and referring to Dr. Laren Thomas, personally reaching out to him. So I know you'll have to kind of trust me on that, because you have no idea if I'm telling a true story or not, but it really happened. And I know I'm not a metallurgist by any means. I'm just a knife geek. I just know it's a hot topic right now, and maybe it's a little too hot. I know that Chris Reeve knives goes for about 64 on their hardness. I think that's what my Omnumzon is rated at. And that's kind of on par with what I've read and heard about Magnacut steel. It's good in all three areas of the steel triangle: edge retention, toughness, and corrosion resistance. And it's also pretty flexible in heat treat. Do you want more toughness? Do you want more edge retention? Do you want it to be easier to sharpen? All of those factors kind of balance in there. I will link a very long but very interesting article down below at Knife Steel Nerds. You probably, if you're a knife geek, have already read it. Preferences all day long, they do matter, but I've never had a problem with my Giant Mouse Magnacut, nor my Chris Reeves, nor my ProTech Magnacut. It's all been great for me for everyday carry usage. Your mileage may vary, but I didn't want to not talk about it. So, man, I really, really love this knife. 3 days in, and I just think it's fantastic. Limited to 205 pieces. Once again, they go live at noon Eastern today if you're watching this the day of, and I imagine they'll go pretty quickly. I'm an affiliate with REC, so again, I'll have links below that will help the channel out. If you want to use them, you do not have to. Thank you to my patrons and subscribers. It's awesome to me that you watch my videos, and I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day.